What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Ring the Bell, your Philly show. Chris DeFrancesco, Johnny Mack in the building. It's been a while, but we are here. We are back for the playoffs, obviously, to cover the Philadelphia Phillies here in the NLDS after winning their division, winning 96 games, which is the most games they've won since the 2011 season. 95 last year, John, 96 this year. And now we get, what baseball basically probably begged for in their heads when it's Reds and Dodgers in the first round. You got the two biggest powerhouses in the league. In baseball, going up against each other in the NLDS. John, man, what are you thinking right now? How are you feeling? We're less than 24 hours away from first pitch at Citizens Bank Park, man. This is massive.
Oh, it's going to be a huge series, no doubt. And it's a series for the Phillies in the sense where if they lose and they lose in horrible fashion, you're going to see a lot of drastic changes and a
No
lot of
doubt.
additions where the Phillies are going to take a different approach to how they run their organization, going
Mhm.
forward. There's going to be a lot of changes that are coming. And there's probably going to be changes no matter what next year.
Mhm.
But if you win it all, there might be significant less changes than you would expect it because I think they'd be more content. We just won it. Let's, maybe not do anything drastic and just make a couple ads here and there. And then maybe in a couple years they go make some huge moves. If they win all. I think this is especially when you're going against the Dodgers and you realize, we just beat the Dodgers with this team. We don't need to go out and sign and spend all this money. But if you lose, then they're going to be like, oh, if you're Middleton who wants to win another World Series, he's going to be like, I need to spend more money. We need to get better. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how I view it in a sense for the Phillies. And for the Dodgers, the pressure is all on them. They're the team that are defending champs. They're the team that again went out and spent big money. They have the largest payroll in baseball. They're just spending money out of the wazoo. They have the most pressure. Backs are going to be against the wall, and they kind of had the backs against the wall last year, and they still won it all. But they were the team where, they were the hand-cut picked favorites, going into the season. And there was times when they were making these free agent signings. They're like the Dodgers are going to win it all again. It's just going to be the Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers. So that's a lot of pressure to live up to. And I'm in the Philly sense. Phillies want to end it. Bryce Harper
Yeah.
said back in April, only losers care about what the Dodgers are doing, and I think they've been eyeing.
What a great quote that was.
And I think the Phillies have been eyeing up this series the entire year. And just like I said to you before we started the show, I'm scared for the series. And not scared that I think the Phillies are going to lose the series. I'm scared because I think they're going to win, and I think
Yeah,
they're not going to show up in the next series. And we're going to think after they win the series, we think they're going to win it all, and
for
they're not
sure.
going to, and they're going to underperform in the championship series. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just the way it just seems like this is their World Series. It's not actually winning the World Series. This is the World Series. This is their championship.
To be transparent with everybody, right before we hit go live and come out to y'all, John and I shockingly had the same thought process because I'm thinking like yesterday, I was just kind of breaking down this series in my head, preparing for tonight, and I said to myself, you know what, man, I'm so terrified of this series because the Phillies are gonna in my head beat the brakes off the Dodgers. Then somehow the Cubs are going to beat Milwaukee and the Phillies are going to lose in 7 to Chicago. And I'm thinking, I don't even know why I think that way because I don't usually think beyond where they're at right now. But I'm the same way with John. Like to me, for this franchise to decide not to make wholesale changes, I said to myself about 3 or 4 weeks ago, get to the pennant, get to the NL pennant series. And to me, you've already, done better than the last 2 seasons. You can't take any more steps backwards. I want this team to stay hungry, to stay focused. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go position by position. We're going
And
to break down.
everything you hear is they're focused. They're more driven than
Oh, for
ever.
sure,
It seems
definitely.
like they are. Um, and you bring up Chicago because I said Chicago too, and you said Chicago. And one
Yeah,
reason why I want Chicago is for some reason I just envisioned Kyle Schwarber hitting a go-ahead home run
yeah.
in game 5 uh,
Mm.
in Game 5 in Chicago in the ninth inning, he's to go ahead and run the Phillies win in 5. Like, I think that would be the coolest moment. It'd just be a great sports moment, I guess. A great baseball moment that Kyle Schwarber sends Chicago home in Chicago with a go-ahead home run in the ninth. But
Yeah,
I mean, that we can talk about that later on. But it's going to be interesting, and I think baseball can't wait for this series in general. I think
yeah.
it's the series everybody's been wanting to see
Hmm.
since the Phillies. I would say the last what 2 seasons. I think that
Yep.
everybody's wanted this series, and we haven't got it because the Dodgers got eliminated early last year. The
Yep.
Phillies got eliminated early. We
Hmm.
didn't get to see it in 2022, and they're on in 2022. So I think
Yeah.
this is it's a series that true numbers. I remember they had what was the bet years ago where it was the Phillies would donate cheesesteaks to somewhere in Chicago and not Chicago
Oh, that's right. I remember. Yep.
in
Hmm.
in LA
Yep.
and the mayor of LA was going to donate something to Philadelphia too. They were going to
Hmm.
donate. I forget what the bet was between the mayors, but it was something, kind of brings that energy back there too. Very historic franchises and two
Yep.
very popular franchises. And I was listening to a show today, and I don't even know who it wasn't a sports related show, but they were talking about big teams baseball. And one thing that really pissed me off, and I don't think it's not going to get shown anywhere, but it just bothered me. Like nobody on that show considered the Phillies a top team. They were just talking about baseball in general, and nobody considered them one of the top markets. And I'm surprised that nobody mentioned them. They're mentioning
It's
Boston, they're mentioning the
weird.
Yankees, they're mentioning the Dodgers, Chicago. They just did not mention the Phillies. I don't know. I think it wasn't. I don't think it was a stick to the Philadelphia fans and this area. I just think it was just they were failed to mention. So it feels like they've been the kind of forgotten, big market team as of recently because there hasn't been as much success lately and a bunch of letdowns. I would say.
Weird when you have the second best record in the world and you're not really being talked about. But
They haven't been all year, and the
I
funny thing
know.
is they've been World Series favorites for a while now. And I mean, recently I just looked, and
Yeah.
I think New York jumped them, and somebody else jumped them, but
Hmm.
I think they were still up, there, in the top three. But and they've been in the top three pretty much all year. So
Yeah.
they're really not. They're not a team they're a popular team, but they're not really talked about. I think they're popular because of our fans. That's where the real popularity comes from. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't think it's a real cross country thing. I think it's just we're so passionate about our sports here that
Hmm.
that they get so much, viewership where, a lot of teams get a lot of viewership, but they get a lot of viewership from people that are not, generally local.
Right. All right. So to kind of break down what we're doing tonight, we're gonna go position by position. We're gonna break down the Dodgers and the Phillies. Who is the favorite at that position? At the end, of course, we are going to give our predictions on the series. So just a quick update for everyone who might not know. Baseball just a few hours ago released, just a little over 3 hours ago, released the full schedule and times for this series. Game one, as we know, tomorrow, Saturday, 6:38 first pitch. Monday will be 6:08 p.m. Wednesday, of course, you're going to be out in Los Angeles. It's going to be 9:08. Then back to 6 o'clock on Thursday. And if there's a game five, if there's a game, obviously there's a game five, it's going to be next Saturday night at 8:08. So great times. I mean, that's got prime time ratings for baseball. That's exactly what they want. And it's pretty much what any real baseball fan wants is this series to be showcased and like at any cost, no matter what. So just to go over just a couple things here. The Phillies won the regular season series versus the Dodgers 4-2. Um, if you look back in most recent years, both
This core had a lot of success against the Dodgers.
yes,
A
in
lot of
recent a
success.
lot of big time, especially offensively, like the numbers too. In recent years, both franchises have been playoff staples, with obviously the Dodgers winning some World Series. Their last postseason meeting, though, was way back in the 2009 NLCS, which the Philadelphia Phillies won. So we all know that. Then now we move to right now. Over the last 2 seasons, both of these teams are tied for the most victories in baseball at 191. It's just crazy to think, like John said, you're listening to some broadcasts and they're talking about Boston, New York, Chicago, and they leave out the team that's tied for the most wins in baseball, the last 2 years. Oh, and it happens to be a top 5 market team. It's just wild to think about this. Like, and as we said before, this isn't the World Series or even the National League Championship. But this is as good of a matchup between the two best teams in baseball as you're going to get. Do you think, in a way, John, baseball's pissed that this isn't an NLCS matchup?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest series that we're going to see in the playoffs, unless it ends up being Yankees, Dodgers, or Phillies, Yankees. I would say
For
this
sure. I mean,
series,
Yankees Dodgers is like a, pardon my French, but that's like a wet dream for baseball.
and I mean, you can maybe throw in Chicago and possibly Yankees, but I just don't see it drawn as much as a Phillies Yankees
Yeah.
series or Dodgers Yankees series. So I think
Yeah.
this is probably there could be a chance that we're not getting a bigger series in the playoffs. Unless we get those
Yeah.
other two matchups. So this is,
Yeah.
I'm
Baseball will
sure they,
collapse if it ends up being Milwaukee versus Seattle in the
yeah,
World
like
Series.
I mean, the Rangers and Diamondbacks, they didn't do great numbers. They did good numbers, but they didn't do. It wasn't a big World Series that people really paid
Right.
attention to.
Right. Yeah. Um, I'm assuming, yeah, like you said, baseball would probably really like to see Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Yankees. One of those two. That's my assumption. All
Which
right.
is good. If at
So
least if you win the series, you might get the calls.
that's a good
Next
point. That's good.
if the Yankees are in the championship series.
Right. All right. So again, like I just said, Skip Schumacher is the new Texas Rangers coach. All right.
Oh, he got fired? I didn't think he got fired, but I didn't realize he got fired from the Miami.
Says
Or did he just ask to leave Miami?
maybe he just asked to leave. But
Because
yeah,
Miami had a really they overachieved this year big time.
they
So
did.
I wouldn't imagine if the manager get fired.
I don't. What is that? Let me see. Miami Marlins manager. It's Clayton McCullough.
Wasn't Skip there? I thought Schumacher was there. He must have got fired by them.
Maybe last season. Skip Schumacher right here.
Who's the manager when they made the playoffs 2 seasons ago?
He was fired after 24.
Okay.
So yeah, he's been out of baseball. So since
I
this
didn't
whole
realize
season.
that. I mean, I really don't pay attention to what the Marlins do. Could care less.
Right. All right. So, like I said, for the first time since way back in the 08-09 season, when the Phillies beat the Dodgers in back-to-back Octobers on their way to back-to-back NL pennants, this is just massive, man. And we're gonna start right off the bat. Let's get into the positions here, John, and we're gonna go over catcher here. Like a tremendous example of
Smith
this.
playing.
I mean, apparently, I mean, it is how much things can change in the midst of a long, 162 game season. Will Smith and JT each entered 2025 with reputations that put them among the best catchers in the sport. But by the end of July, there no longer seemed to be a comparison between the two. Smith was hitting better than anyone in the catcher position, this side of Aaron
He would have won the
Judge.
bat. He probably would have won the batting title in the NL if he didn't break his the hand he broke.
Yeah,
Break
yeah.
his hand.
And then, of course, up until July, you got 34-year-old JT, who had spent most of the first half struggling to keep his bat, mediocre. And then, as the saying goes, what the hell happened? Smith fell apart in August. He slashed 159, 326, 304. Then he didn't play in September because of a hairline fracture in his hand. And then you go to JT, who in July and August, an 818 OPS before, falling back in September. Now you got a healthy Smith. Would you give the edge here to Smith being healthy, and
Yes.
or you would stick there? You wouldn't give that to JT?
He's healthy. He's healthy. He's better than JT at this point. I mean, it just is what it is. And JT, he had a great second half, but
I would give it to Smith as well from an over. I mean, if Smith is healthy, it's kind of no contest, really.
If he's playing, if
Yeah,
he ends up not playing, I know he's on the roster, but does that mean he's going to start tomorrow? I don't know. You have
I
to put him on the
guess.
you have to put him on the roster, even
Yes.
if
Yeah.
you plan on playing him. So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
if it's not
know.
if Smith doesn't start, then obviously
Yeah.
JT, then the Phillies have a significant edge there. Um, thank you, Jose. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, go Phils. All right, first base, dude. Good luck choosing between two future Hall of Famers. I mean, unfortunately, we have to, we're obligated to sit here and actually decide this. Bryce, who missed 35 games, had a season that would be good for almost anyone else. 27 home runs, a 130 OPS plus. By his own standards, though, it was something of a down year. It was his weakest OPS and slugging since 2016. John and I have a theory. That's a pretty obvious theory as to why maybe some of those numbers were a little bit down. He did slug, though, better in the second half, 525. I mean, you and I agree, John, that when the guy hitting two hits 56 home runs, sometimes some of those numbers might go down a little bit.
And there's nobody on base for you to hit in. How are you going to get RBIs?
Exactly.
Because the guy's taking them all. I mean, even at short at one, he's still taking away a ton of RBIs because the guys at the bottom of the lineup when he comes up are
Mhm.
getting hit by Schwarber. So that is what
Yeah.
it is. But Freddie Freeman's better, so it doesn't matter.
Well, over the last two seasons, Harper and Freddie Freeman have put up identical WRC plus figures of 138. Second half, Freeman was a little, not a lot, but a little better than Bryce. The gap in the season was larger, though we also know that it's not, terribly predictive of what will happen in October. However, we do know that both of these dudes light it up in the playoffs. I mean, both of these guys can flat
It's
out
gonna.
hit
I
in the
mean, you have the best
postseason.
first baseman matchup in the playoffs. I mean, it's simple as
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
Freddie's better,
I'd give it to Freddie. Yeah. I mean,
and
obviously things can
he's
change.
like the #1 guy in the world that you would love to hate and you can't.
Yeah, exactly. Good call. All right, let's go to second base. This one, I think, actually, we have one for the Phils. This might be obviously a job share for the Dodgers, and while there's things to like about Miguel Rojas and Tommy Edman, I mean, we saw what he did last year in October. The truth is, though, I mean, John
Tommy Edman's
Edmonds,
not good.
he's
He's
also
never
hurt.
been good, and he's
Yeah,
never been good.
yeah.
He's
Um,
never been good ever. He had a great
yeah,
postseason run. Congrats
yeah,
to him. He's never been good.
yep.
He's been an
Um,
average player. Maybe you know.
well, during the beginning of the show, we do know now who is John's least favorite baseball player.
But
It's
it's just
Tommy
because
Edmond.
he got paid, he got deferred money, and it was one of the contracts where the people are freaking out, like, "Oh my God, but he had a great
Yeah,
postseason." And
that's
guys have
it.
it. Steve Pierce had great postseasons.
Hmm.
Ben Zobrist has had some great postseasons, but
Ben Zobrist.
has he been a great player? No, he's been a guy like Tommy Evans, probably better than Tommy Evans, but he's been a guy like that who can play multiple positions. You can put him anywhere. He's a glue guy. You need a glue
Hmm.
guy, but yeah, he's not that good. I'm not worried about Tommy Edmonds. If
Hmm.
Tommy Edmonds beats us, then there's something else going on that Tommy Edmonds beat us.
Agreed. So Stott through the end of July. I mean, the entire city, the entire fan base of baseball, I don't care what anybody tells you, was really significantly kind of done with the Bryson Stott experiment. By the end of July, he was slashing 233, 305, and 340, which is a below average line. After that, Stott has now slashed 310, 377, 503, which is a top 20, top 30 mark in the majors. It was the third best among second basemen. It's wild the turnaround that Bryson Stott had the entire second half of the season. To where it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure he ended the season close to hitting 270, which is right around where we all have really kind of wanted him to be at.
257.
It was 257?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he finished a little higher than that.
He's cooled down a bit.
Oh, okay. So, all right, but
He's
for
not. We need Phillies need him to play like that if they want to win a World Series, and they needed him to play like that if they wanted to win the division. But by all gods, I still don't trust the guy. As I just don't trust him.
mhm,
He has to do it at a consistent basis, like a 250 hitter. He plays good defense. All right, that's a great 9-hole hitter. It's a
of
great 9-hole
course,
hitter. It's a good second baseman to have, but it's not. He's not anything paid dropping because he's a career 256 hitter.
yeah,
He's not doesn't hit for a ton of power. He can still bases, but he's one of the best base stealers in the game. And
mhm,
that's you need some speed in the lineup. You need that. You need a good glove in the lineup. So that's what he is. He's a good complementary player to this lineup. And you do need some players like that, but you need these players to perform. And I
mhm,
don't trust him yet to do it because he hasn't done it in the playoffs. He hasn't. He's had some moments. He's had some good
mhm.
moments. But yeah, he's a career 200-ish, maybe even worse than that in the playoffs. So
Oh,
he hasn't done anything, but I
yeah.
think he's better than Tommy Emmons.
Well, in his last 24 games, Bryson Stott slashing 310, 366, 512. So look, I mean, it's something. If he can hit like the last 24 games of the season, then the Phillies are in a really good
Yes.
shape. But the
Yes.
fact is, John's right. I mean, dude, at any point he can go back to that 225, 230 type hitter, and you kind of have a
And
hole
it
in
kind
that
of
bottom of
seems
the
like this
order.
is who the player he is because he does have some, last year was it last year he was hitting 300 early in the year and he completely went cold. And then I think 2 years ago he was hitting 300 most of the season and ended up
So
hitting
yeah,
280,
280.
270. So it might be a guy. He might just be a guy who gets hot, and when he gets hot, it's great to have him. But he's not a reliable guy where you expect him to do that on a consistent basis. But again, you need complemented players who are cheap. You don't break the bank, who play good defense. You need some of those
Hmm.
players, because you can't. I mean, the Dodgers have some players that they're playing that aren't very good, and that they need position fillers. But Stott is one of those guys who, on the high end, because he's good, has a good glove, it does benefit the team tremendously, and his
Yeah,
speed, it brings another, aspect to the game that some guys on the team don't have.
for sure. So the edge definitely goes to the Phillies there. Um, let's move over to the shortstop. This is another tough one. Mookie Betts, Trey Turner. Obviously, they were teammates in 2021. No longer the case. Um, look, they both came into the 2025 season not exactly being touted for their abilities, their defensive abilities at shortstop. However, one of those guys totally completely turned that all around this year in Trey Turner, becoming a not only a plus defender, but one of the best, probably
He's
most elite
prob
defensive shortstops in the game right now.
he's probably gonna be a Gold Glove nominee,
For
and
sure.
I wouldn't say you wouldn't say the same exact thing for Mookie Betts because he basically was learning a brand new position, but he's turned himself into probably a Gold Glove candidate at shortstop this year too. So they both worked at it to become, you know, and
Hmm.
it's just amazing what Mookie's done because he's not a shortstop.
Right.
He's
Right.
but Trey's always been a shortstop, but he's worked his butt off to improve, an aspect of his game this late in his career. And
Hmm.
Mookie Betts turned himself into a Gold Glove shortstop, just by moving positions. And they didn't think they were going to stick with him there, anybody. He did it. He turned himself into a Gold Glove shortstop.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, we all know about Trey from an offensive standpoint this year. He's the NL batting champion. I mean, the lowest average batting champion in almost 100 years, but nonetheless,
I
it's
think it might have
still,
if he didn't get hurt, I
if he was
think
healthy, you're talking probably 315, 320.
he probably has 200 because the way he was
Yeah.
scorching hot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hopefully he can get back that because this is big postseason for him,
Yeah. And
especially this series because it's you left the Dodgers and they just won
yeah,
it. You left them. You chose not to stay there. I don't know if they're going to give him a contract, but you chose not to stay there.
right. Right. It's been a big last actually couple months for Mookie, who was basically still going to have some of his career lows across the board offensively. His last 25 games, though, he is slashing 307, 348, 554, and 903 OPS with 6 home runs and 23 RBIs. And um, if we look at what he's done since August, he's right around 300 to 3 over 350 on base percentage. So you're talking, his last, 60 games, Mookie has done Mookie things that he's done in the past. So John and Mookie had a phenomenal wild card series. Are we worried at all that the superstar Mookie Betts is maybe finding his swing here in the postseason?
Hopefully not. Big time players do show
Of
up in big
course.
time moments,
Yeah.
though. But I'm
Yep.
still taking Trey. Just
Mhm.
what
Me too.
based on what Mookie's done this year.
Hmm.
Trey's been better. Trey's a little younger. Mookie's at the back end of his career, so he's
Hmm.
getting to that. He's in that Harper zone where there's questions if he's getting too old, and some guys are freaks, and their names are Freddie Freeman.
Right. Right. Um, but I will say, I mean, to me, a fully healthy Turner gets that edge. Do we have a fully healthy Trey Turner?
I don't know.
That's
Last
what
year
I'm worried about.
he said it took him a while
Yeah.
to be able to run at full speed again. Thank God this year, the way it's been reported, it's not even close to nearly as bad as it was last year. So that's encouraging. Um, I would have liked him to see him come back at the beginning of the Twin Series, not the last game of the Twin Series, and that would have
Hmm.
given me a little more confidence. But I'm gonna trust him and think that he's close to 100%.
I would tend to agree with you on that one. All right, so Edge goes to the Phillies there. So the Phillies, we have edging them at second base and shortstop. And I think third base is also going to fall into the favor of the Phillies. Max Muncy played in 100 games this year. He had oblique and knee injuries, but he also set a career high in hard hit rate, like by a lot, which is, saying something for a player who came into this season with 4 years of 35 plus home run years to his name. But is he clearly a better hitter than Alec Bohm?
No.
I don't think so. And he's obviously, he's a below average, I think, defender. Alec Bohm still isn't getting enough credit for the third base
It's
prowess
it's
that he's
it's
done.
crazy because he gets better and better each year.
I know,
He had like
exactly.
5 errors this year. His outs
Yeah.
of above average, were if it was not -1, it was 0. It wasn't probably lower than -1 for outs above average. He's just continually gotten better at that position. Um, and I mean, this guy, credit to this guy. This guy gets heat from every fan on a daily
For
basis.
everything that he does. I
And he could
agree.
breathe. He breathes. The guy is at the end of the day, he's going to be a 270 hitter. He's going to drive in runs. I mean, the guy hit 286 this year.
After April, the
After
last day of
April, he
April,
was hitting
he
like 150.
slashed 308, 356, 453. That's how
Like,
good Bohm has been since April.
he'd been hurt this year, banged up, a couple times. That rib got hurt, and then
Hmm.
it came back again, and it just came back from it, got hot, goes
Yeah.
back on the IL, came
Yep.
back, was hot again. He's and everybody, I hate it. I argue with friends about it and stuff like that. It's like he has the lowest whiff rate on the team. He has the
I
lowest
know.
strikeout rate on the team. Now he's slow. He's gonna ground in double plays because he puts the ball in play. That's gonna happen. If you put the ball in play the most out of anybody, you're gonna ground in double plays
That's right.
the most probably, and you're slow, so it's gonna happen. That's just
Hmm.
what's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, he's at least a 275 hitter, and he's gonna
Yep.
drive and run. You know that because he's
Yep.
done it. He's done it.
And
He
he's
didn't do
no
it.
longer a liability at third.
No.
So that's how I feel
I
there.
wish he had
And
better range. Do I wish he had better range? To Sosa probably better range. Yeah, but he's not making the bonehead mistakes anymore in the field as
right.
he used to make. He's making most of the
Hmm.
that outs he should make. He's not making the extraordinary plays because he's not a great third baseman, but he's
That's right.
been about an
Hmm.
average third baseman,
Yeah.
recently.
If Muncy does get, if they stick with Muncy instead of going with Enrique Hernandez
Who
or
stinks?
Rojas, yeah,
Another
they
guy that
both stink. Yeah.
everybody loves this guy, Kike Hernandez. Why do people
Yeah.
like this guy, Chris? Can tell me why
Dude,
anybody?
I couldn't tell you. I wonder the same thing. And I always I try to figure out, well, how does Bohm
Is it
get
because he plays
nonstop
25?
heat, but
He can
this
play
guy
every
doesn't?
position. Is it because he can play that many positions? Is that
Oh
what it is?
yeah, of course.
He's a good fielder? Like, who
Yeah,
cares? Like, I
I
don't
know.
understand the feeling that everybody is so obsessed with. I get it. You need to be decent in the field to win, but it's the stupidest thing ever. That's what we're gonna harp on. If a guy can hit 280 and he's a below average fielder, I'll take the bat over the fielder any day. They're
Of
gonna
course.
if you can hit, they're gonna find somewhere to put you. That's
Right.
just the way it is. If you can't hit, they're not gonna play you every day just because you can field. You're gonna be a bad baseball team.
Mhm. Um, I mean, if I really do hope it's Muncy. I mean, Muncy against lefties this year. Um, I'm sorry, over the last 3 seasons, he's hitting 160 with a 266 OBP. So
Yeah,
you gotta hope.
I don't
I'm
see
really
him playing
hoping
Muncie.
Muncy. I really hope it's
Just
Muncy.
don't just don't see it. He had a good year though. He had a pretty good year.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move over to left field. So again, we picked the Phillies to have the edge over the Dodgers on third base. Speaking of players off to poor starts and then shined, I gotta not credit myself. I gotta kind of pinch myself and call myself out. I wanted this guy off the team immediately.
I was pretty bad at
Bra-
April. I
and
was done.
everyone was. I'm not going to sit here and be like I was like the minority here. I mean, everyone was saying, "Can we please just get Crawford up here now?" And Brandon Marsh is terrible. But let's kind of talk about Brandon Marsh a little bit. He didn't get his batting average above 200 until May 19th, and then the rest of the season, he's not only been one of the best hitters in the Phillies, but he's been one of the better hitting outfielders in the majors. He is in probably after all this time now, John, is Brandon Marsh underrated?
Yeah, I would say he's a little bit underrated, especially what he's done, the campaign he's put together this year. He's a 261 hitter. That's not bad. He hits for like 15 home runs a year, about, maybe
He ended the season at 280.
yeah, so like he's had a really good year. He still can't hit lefties, but
He cannot.
my theory on that is, and I've always said it, well, how can you learn how to hit lefties if you don't face left-handed pitching?
Yeah, he hit 197 in 76 plate appearances. 88 plate appearances, I'm sorry. 88 plate appearances, a 197 average against lefties.
And what
In
most of those starts against lefties happened in April, probably. So,
Yep.
and if they do give him a chance, it's a very short-lived thing.
Hmm.
Um, but again, with what and I was gonna wait till the end of the show to kind of give it to him, but I give Topper a ton of credit, especially a guy I've given a lot of heat to, recently. But he showed some guts, and he kind of put friendships and relationship with his players a little bit to the side this year, making some tough decisions of how to construct this lineup, and it's helped the Phillies, in the second half. It helped them a lot in the second half, and it made the offense look better in the second half, which we kind of been asking for him to make those tough decisions, been waiting for him, and I guess to this. I guess maybe he felt the pressure of it's go time. It's that, I need to do this if I want to win, if I want
Hmm.
to make a name for myself as a manager. I still think he makes stupid pitching decisions. That's a different discussion. But with
Hmm.
the lineup, he's made some excellent decisions with lineup and sticking with the way and the way he's rotated this outfield with Marsh, Bader, Castellanos, Kepler, Kemp at times, Weston Wilson, and anybody else he's thrown out there. He's made some really good decisions on who to play because there's been times where I've said it to you and you've said it to me. Why is this guy starting today? And then he
Yep.
goes out and hits a home run. And it's
I
like,
mean,
well, that's
yeah. Second half,
it's
Max Kepler.
and it's crazy. Kepler, he made it for 216, but he had a really good second half, and I mean, overall, as a platoon bench player, he brought a little bit something in the second half, and he brought something 16 home runs, 17, 18 home runs, whatever it was, 216 batting average. He did some good things,
Hmm.
and Topper kind of stuck with this guy all year, and the way he matched these guys up and kind of put in some outfield depth, it made them all
Yeah.
better baseball players, and maybe the fact that you have a young 21-year-old sitting in the minor leagues knowing if I don't start performing, this kid's going to take my spot.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
a little pressure too, and those guys all played their roles really well in the second half, especially as after that trade deadline came around, they all played their asses off, and
Yeah.
I had no complaints. I had really no complaints about this team in the second half, really at all.
This deserves another applause. We got to give huge. I cannot believe that John is for about 2 straight minutes, giving credit to
He did.
Topper.
You have to with what he
You
did.
absolutely have to.
How long have I been calling for Nick Castellanos benching and doing something?
A
Forever. And
year and a
finally,
half.
and I have to give credit that I've
Literally.
something I wanted to see, and I'm not, and it worked. And maybe
Yeah.
I'm just smarter than Topper, and that I realized it sooner.
I think
Um,
so.
but it worked. It
So
worked.
we're gonna give
It
again.
worked. And also, I said don't bet Schwarber one, and he'll have more RBIs, and he had his most RBIs ever. It
I
was
know.
crazy. Imagine what he could have done if he hit 4.
Oh my gosh, I know. So yeah, again, the Phillies get the edge. That's 3 in a row to the Phillies. And
And
I think
who's their left fielder? Is it Conforto? Is he considered their everyday left fielder, or is it rotation of Edmonds out there, or
yeah, it's
Hernandez
they
out
started
there?
Hernandez against the Reds. But if
Alex
he's needed at
Call,
third base, you got
like, are
Michael.
the
It's not like Michael Conforto was a better option. So
or it's Alex Call. Like, I mean,
yeah, I
there's
mean
not.
Andy. How do you pronounce his name? Pajes.
Wait, yeah,
Andy
but he's the center.
Pajes.
He's their center fielder, and
But I
they
mean, that's just saying they at times they moved Pajes
yeah.
over there with
And
Tommy Edman in
Edmonds
center.
and or Enrique was So you don't
So
really
yeah,
know who's gonna be. But I would
I
consider
mean, does
Paz their
Alex
center
Call
fielder.
start in the NLDS? I mean,
He
are we
crushes
gonna?
lefties.
I mean, is he going to be the guy that Is he going to be a Pierce? Is he going to be another Edmund? He's going to come in here and dominate.
It's funny
I,
because the
I
Phillies were looking at him too to add
I'll
instead of
throw
Bader.
this laptop out the window if Alex Call does anything to beat the Phillies.
They were they were interested in him. The Phillies were that ended up getting Bader.
Well, it worked for the Phillies right there. So, I mean, let's move over to center field, who I think, again, the advantage is going to go to them. This had been, again, this was Brandon Marsh's role until Bader was traded for and then took over. And he's been, against my initial opinion of the move by Dave Dombrowski. What a phenomenal move. It was one of the most impactful additions that not just the Phillies, it
It
was
probably was
one
a
of the
bigger
most
impact than
in
Duran. Probably one of the biggest ones at the deadline, if not
yes,
the biggest.
with the Phillies, he's slashing 305, 361, 463, and of course, he's an elite defender. So that's where they are in center field. So obviously, we already know what's going to be going on in center field for the Dodgers. Where it does get a little tricky is that as outstanding as Bader was, we can't assume he's going to be he's the guy he was for the 50 Phillies games that he was here, and not the less consistent hitter he was for nearly whatever the last 6 or 7 years across 5 other teams. And like I said to John the other day, I wasn't trying to be negative, but quietly at the end of the season, Bader's 4 for his last 30. On the other hand, Pajes took a pretty big step back in the second half. And even if we don't fully, buy into Bader being that 305, 310 hitter every single day, I still think he's still better than any option that the Dodgers have in center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Paz is better.
Offensively, too?
Oh yeah, he's like a 270. He has like 26,
No,
27
I'm saying
bombs.
if Bader stays in that realm of maybe that 280 to 305 guy he's been since coming to the Phillies, you
I'd
still
still
pull
take
Pajes?
Paz.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay. I think all right, then we defer there. Wow, that's crazy.
I'd still take Paz. I
Okay.
mean, we know what Bader is, and and I think it's a great move. And like I said, Pierce, Steve Pierce. It could be a Steve.
Right.
He's the guy. He was a nobody. He's pretty much a nobody. Ended up, helping the Red Sox win a World Series. I mean, that's the first guy that always pops in my head. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's countless others that I just can't recall.
Yeah.
You just don't remember. I mean, Phillies Matt Stairs, you just got a pinch hitter. That's what they because you needed a pinch hitter if you're in the NL that back then, and he was the guy to be the pinch hitter. There's a
Yeah.
lot of you get a guy who's just maybe not that special, but you bring him here, and it's a change of scenery, and it's there's a different vibe to it, something you're not used to, and it just
Right.
it clicks and it works, and and it has worked for the Phillies. It hasn't been great as of late, but it's worked.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking about a 24, 25-year-old Andy Paz and versus a 31-year-old Harrison Bader, who we kind of know who he is as a player at this point. You don't see and sometimes there's some late bloomers. There always is some random late bloomer that, he goes somewhere and he's a different player there and he can just do it there in that lineup with the protection around it. And maybe the Bader gets that here and he comes back next year and he's a 280 hitter with the Phillies for the rest, his time here. But that's not who he's been the first
It,
7-8 years of his career. And
yeah,
he's just getting better and getting better. So
it's
I
gonna
would
be
take
it's gonna
Baez.
be also where do they put Bader in the lineup with Trey Turner back?
Well, I mean,
Um,
if it was me, he'd probably be your 1 or 2 hitter. Probably two. I'd probably want to have Trey there and Schwarber before, but
that's
that
what
will
I would
not
do. Yeah,
that would not happen.
no,
And then I've talked to other people about it. You want to get your three best hitters the most at bats.
yeah,
So, but then it's always the same people that complain. You need to get more protection behind number three. Well, put fucking Kyle Schwarber before then if you want more protection behind
exactly.
number three. That's
I,
the option. That is the option. But you need to have your best three hitters getting the most at bat. Well, then stop saying that's the
Yeah,
option.
you
There's
can't
the
have
protection.
both. You got to pick one.
You
It's
know,
it doesn't work that way. Schwarber can't bat,
you are
second
what
and
you
fourth.
are what you have what you have and you are what you are. And if that's what you say you need, then that's what you have to do. That's the option. And Bader has to be two and or one. And I probably go Bader two
Yeah.
and or you bat Harper two and Schwarber three. That's another option too.
Again, you're
Um
talking my ideal lineup is Harper too. That's
so
always been my ideal Harper spot. Um,
but
so
that's you can't have you're right, you can't have it both ways.
can't.
And but I think Bader's probably five.
I was gonna say he's gonna bat after Bohm. He'll bat behind Bohm. Um, all right, so John goes advantage Dodgers there. I go advantage Phillies, but I do think it's probably a toss up to be fair. But all right, let's go into right field. And like we said in the top of the show, it's crazy how a year can change things. Last October at this time, Nick Castellanos was batting cleanup for the Phillies in the postseason. This time around, he's on the bench. At least against right-handed starters, because he hit a career low
He might play tomorrow.
694 OPS.
He might play tomorrow.
Yeah,
He's 2 for 3 against Itani.
yeah,
Career with 2 extra base hits, I believe. He's probably going to play tomorrow.
which is, I mean, I would, yeah, but
He's a
why?
guy.
But
I love him
Cassie will
so
probably
much.
start against Blake Snell. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
Kepler start in right field tomorrow?
he might. You never know. Who knows what's going to happen?
We'll see. I mean,
Well, either
Topper
way,
owes nothing to Castellanos at this point. So
either way, I'm wrong. And whatever Topper does, the guy who, you know, you may not want Cassiano to start, but then Nick hits a home run tomorrow, or I don't want Kepler to start and Kepler hits a home run tomorrow, something like that.
yeah,
That's what's going to happen. But I love Castellanos, man. Every time he talks, I love him even more. Every time
oh
he opens his
man,
mouth, I love him. I just love him to death. I mean, but I'm the guy who calls that. But I love what the Topper's done with him because at the
yeah,
point as a player, you are what you are as a player. But every time he opens his mouth, I just love him more. He's just easily turned into one of my favorite people. Just he has like no emotion talking.
no,
He's so dry, but he just says some great things. He's talking
yeah.
about. I mean, if you spent that much money on a baseball player, you should get better. And then he's just, I don't mean
It
to talk
was the
shit on
best.
I don't mean to
Yeah,
talk shit on the Mets, but that's what should happen, right?
yeah.
Is he wrong?
You don't spend 750 million on one guy to get worse. You just don't.
And he
On the
it's just
on the other end of the coin here, you have Teoscar Hernandez, and he is no asset on defense. I mean, he's a -9 fielding run value, which is bottom 10 in baseball. He had that big error in the wild card series, but he also hit 2 home runs in game one and reached base 4 times. And he also made a pretty massive decrease in his strikeout rate in September after a pretty, I guess, mediocre season. It's not a huge edge, but from a track record standpoint, I guess you got to give Teoscar and the Dodgers the edge here.
yeah, and if they don't have a ton, he's your DH, so
Yeah. I mean, it's the
he's probably
weakest, it's the weakest position battle between both teams is right
yeah,
field
but
to
he's
me.
he's better than both of our options. A lot
Yeah.
better. Maybe not in
Yeah.
the field. Nick
Yeah.
Castellanos again, no errors this season, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't forget that the guy does not commit errors.
Kepler did have a 791 OPS in August and September. So Kepler did look like, I mean, he had some pop in his bat this
He
season,
doesn't
but
load. He doesn't load. He just
he doesn't. He
swings.
just swings. Yeah, he just swings.
So that's his issue.
So yeah, I'm gonna go Dodgers as the advantage there. I mean, the next one is just, uh, it's just a slugfest in the DH, but you
And
got to
it's
give it
so
to Shohei Otani. I mean, it is what it is.
he hit
I
that ball
love.
1,000 feet in game
I
one.
he did that. Yes, he
The
did.
second home run,
Oh
I
my
mean,
god. Look, I
he's
love Kyle
special, man.
Schwarber. Oh, he is. I mean, it when I hear
Kyle
people,
Schwarber's great, but he doesn't hit 280 along with hitting 56 home runs he hit, right?
yeah,
56.
yeah,
And
Otani hit
and steal.
55.
Well, I mean, Otani didn't steal this year, but Otani can steal if you
Yeah,
want to.
but yeah, but the OPS, the on base percentage, he had a
Yeah.
60 points higher slugging. It's like, and I don't appreciate, and it pisses me off in the era that we live in, John. You can appreciate this. I get so upset when I hear people say there's Aaron Judge and Shohei Otani fatigue. When I sit back and I go, dude, I get to watch these two guys be great for
Well,
their
and
entire
that's
career.
why Michael Jordan doesn't have, 15 MVPs. That's why LeBron doesn't have 20 MVPs. That's why,
Yeah,
Tom Brady, the Peyton Mannings of the worlds, they don't have as many MVPs as they do because the voters get bored of voting for the same guy over and over again. But how can you not vote for a guy who had a 3 ERA,
less than.
50, 55 home runs,
Yep. Yep. It's
100
insane.
RBIs?
Yeah, it's great. It's just wild to think
Maybe
about that.
he should win the MVP every single year unless somebody breaks Barry Bonds' home
Yeah.
in
I
the
I
National
I
League. That's
completely get it. Yep.
Am I
Completely
wrong?
understood. I mean, let's be real. I hate the guy. I mean, I
I mean,
can't stand him,
you
but Juan
actually have to win the
Soto had
triple.
an incredible season.
Yeah, you actually have to hit 300. You have to win the batting title. You have to win the Triple Crown, and drive in 100 runs and break Barry Bonds' record at this point because the guys, you really do because the guy's going to pitch next year and he's going to have a sub 3.5 ERA.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna have 28 starts. He's probably going to hit 50 home runs,
Yeah.
100 RBIs. Like you have to do something that nobody's going to replicate to outbeat him for the MVP because he's doing something that nobody's
Mhm.
going to replicate every single time he's on the field.
Yeah. No
I mean, last
doubt.
year it was 50-50 guy. There's only one 50-50 guy in the world ever, ever,
Yeah.
ever.
I know.
Never seen.
Um
And then you got a guy, and then he goes out, and he's pitching this year. Like that's like he's just
mhm.
doing things you don't.
It
He's he's is it? Can you call him the greatest baseball player to ever play?
you could.
I mean, is he the greatest hitter? No. Is he the greatest
No.
pitcher? No. But is he the greatest baseball player?
He's probably, I mean, since Babe Ruth.
Yes. But that guy was a myth. That guy wasn't a real person.
He wasn't real. Um
It's like Will
so
Chamberlain's 100 point game.
yeah.
His teammates, it's like I don't know how a guy who eats hot dog. I mean, he could have played baseball, Babe Ruth, but I don't know a guy who drinks hot dogs and eats beers and smokes cigars and does all this stuff. Hits 700 home runs and only four people. But is it four people? Or is it five people now? It's fullest the fourth.
For 600.
700.
Oh, uh, seven. You got Bonds, Aaron,
All right.
Ruth, and yeah, and Pujols.
So okay, yep. You're telling me that that guy who did one of four things only four people have ever done.
Yeah.
I think it's not real. They just gave him extra home runs and extra
The one
stats.
thing I always understood, I always actually not understood. The one thing I always wondered about Wilt's 100 is
There's no
how did
video evidence.
how did he never do it again?
There's no video evidence. His teammates didn't even know he scored 100 points. I mean, there's occasionally a guy who calls him WIP who says he was at the game, but that's probably a lie.
Probably. That's funny. But yeah, so going back to what we're saying, like this DH, man, this is as big as it gets. You're talking two of the best five qualified hitters in the sport in 2025. I mean, honestly,
One
the
and two in the
it's
MVP voting, I would guess.
yeah, it's these two guys, Judge, Raleigh, and Juan Soto. I mean, that's the top five qualified hitters in the
I
sport
mean, if
in
Soto finishes
2025.
above Judge, I think it's an absolute joke just because they missed the playoffs and he's the highest paid player to ever play the game of baseball and they missed the playoffs. So I think I would hold that against him as a voter.
Yeah, I agree. And
Even though he had a great
I
year,
think
but
that should matter. I think that should always matter if that team makes the playoffs or not. It should.
yeah.
Because how valuable of a player are you if your team's healthy almost the whole season and you miss the playoffs and you're that good? So moving forward now, obviously, like we said, the edge goes
Come
to
on,
the
buddy.
Dodgers. We're rounding out this whole thing before we get our predictions, so we'll get moving. From a starting rotation point, I think it's obvious that sans Zach Wheeler, I mean, it's got to go the Dodgers. I mean,
Yes.
Blake Snell has been unbelievable. Shohei, when he pitches 5-6 innings, is unbelievable.
How is Mark
Um,
Prior still just a pitching coach?
I agree, man.
I mean,
That's a
if the
great
Phillies decide to
question.
move on from Topper, that's the first guy I'm hiring. I'm giving anything he wants.
No doubt. No doubt.
That many team. The guy, I mean, he's
Yeah.
changed guys' careers. He's developed guys. He's done everything you could imagine out of a coach.
Yep.
I mean, somebody has to want to give him a pay raise, or he loves doing what he's doing over there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
weird that
I mean, how
he's
could you not? I mean, you get to work with Otani and guys like
yeah,
Snell every day. How could you
yes,
not?
yes. But if you go to an organization like the Phillies will give you the same luxury the Dodgers are giving you, except you get
Yeah.
to run your team how you want to run it. But maybe he's
Right.
just interested in the pitching part.
Maybe. Maybe. And it's one of those things where if you look at the a full healthy season of a Phillies rotation, it was better. But the September Dodgers pitching did just allow the lowest batting average by any team in any month ever.
I think they're lying. I always
Really
forget to mention this. I think they're lying about their pitchers being injured,
interesting. Why do you think that?
so they have them ready for the fresh as possible for the playoffs.
Hmm.
It's weird. They're like the most injured pitching staff in the playoffs all year. Are inconsistent a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the time, and then they're all back. They're magically all back for
Magically
the
ready
play,
to roll.
all ready to go in the playoffs. All of
Right.
them. None of them are.
So yeah, I think going into the postseason, I mean, it was the thing that we were probably going to say is the biggest struggle in terms of a
Is Kershaw
weakness.
not pitching, starting at all?
Kershaw, they said today, will be in the bullpen.
Okay.
So
I was wondering how that
he's
was gonna
he's gonna
work out.
mad bum it this year. He's gonna just be mad bum coming out of the bullpen and probably be dominant. But that's the biggest question mark I think for the Phillies actually going into this is pitching. And then we get about a week ago, Ranger gets a line drive back off of his nuts, and then he's now struggling. And it's like, all right, cool. We went from probably not seeing Aaron Nola from a starting capacity to where he may or may not be your game two
Oh, he
starter.
earned it. He earned a start. That last start, he earned it. He does it. He's magical.
Yeah,
He knows
he's
it.
real magic.
Yeah, this is what I can we tone down how good Ranger Suarez is, please?
I'm not
He's
saying he's
well, I'm just saying,
lights
like
out, but
I'm just
I
saying,
trust
like
him
the
more
guy's
than I
never
trust
pitched.
Aaron Nola right
The
now.
guy's pitched more than 15 outs once in the playoffs.
Yeah, I understand.
Aces and really good pitchers pitch 6 innings in the playoffs.
I agree. I
And
agree.
it's not because it's because he works himself in dangerous situations
He
and
does.
gets
Yeah.
his pitch count very high, which again, if you're not throwing the 6 innings in the playoffs, at least trying to get to that sixth inning.
Yeah.
They see your bullpen. They see your bullpen more. The more you see the guy in these series, the better you have a chance to hit him later on in the series.
I mean,
And
that
that's
happened with the Yankees and the Red Sox.
the more you see these guys,
Yeah.
the better chances they have to hit them. So that your starters have to go and give these guys bullpen.
Yep.
Give
Yep.
them rest. You have to. You know, they
Hmm.
have to. You can't let them to be able to time up Duran. You have to be able
Yeah.
to use Duran in safe situations. Maybe you can win a big game, 6-0, just
Hmm.
6-1, and you don't have to use Duran early or whatnot. You don't give him a chance to see him. The starters go deep into games. You need that.
Hmm.
That's important, and he has not
Yep.
done that. And that's always been my thing with him. And I feel like people think I don't think he's good. I think he's a good pitcher, but he's been poor in the second half for his entire career. He had a 4.4 ERA again this year.
Yep.
He's 5-5.
Yep.
Um, and I'm starting to become a pitcher's win guy. I think wins are actually important because it tells me that you're pitching
Hmm.
deep into games.
But what about Paul
Oh,
Skeens? I mean, it's
It doesn't say a lot because of how good he was, but and that team's bad. But when you're on a good team,
Right. Okay. So the wins matter if when you're on a good team.
if you're on a good team, you should have close to 20 wins because you know what that means? You're pitching deep into a game.
Yeah. He had a 3.20 ERA this year. So I mean it's not the worst, right? I mean
Well, he
it's
had like
not
a 2.7 ERA in the first half, something like that.
Yes. Yeah, he did. I'm looking at I'm looking
And
at it.
again, he's done the same thing he's done the previous 3 seasons once the Phillies clinched. Horrible. It's been
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. I'm trying to find hold on. Did I click the wrong thing? No, pitching. I don't know why I can't find his month to month ERA and all. Why can't I find it? Weird. I don't understand right now. But okay. But yeah, I mean, I again, I'm not saying a difference maker of the series is Raindrop. I'm just saying, I mean, we're going to see him start a game in this series.
I talk to people and they get mad at me that I wanted this guy traded. Well, in hindsight's 2020, we didn't want him traded. Well, I wouldn't trade him because I didn't know Wheeler was going to get hurt.
Exactly. Some things work out the way they do. Yeah,
they do, and it's good that they didn't. But again, he's not really reliable. He
right.
hasn't been. He has been good in the playoffs, but the problem is he's not going deep enough to where it benefits the Phillies enough.
Right.
I mean, his last
Right.
starts, he went 4 1/3 against the Mets, and then what happened as soon as that happened? They gave up runs because they had to bring Jeff Hoffman in again for the third straight game where they just saw a guy for the third straight time. They saw a guy all year. They saw this guy enough. You have to be able to give guys, at least a competitive advantage by seeing you less, especially when you're going to see a guy over and over again. Especially as these series get longer and longer, you need to go deeper into the game so they see them less. The less you use your bullpen in the playoffs, the better chance you have at winning. That's the truth. And what did Jimmy? I always loved bringing Jimmy Rollins up into this. What did Jimmy Rollins say in 08? We knew once we had to get to that bullpen. Once we got to that bullpen, we were good. They wanted to get to the bullpen because if you get to the bullpen, you're going to see these guys more and more, and they're going to have to use worse guys if you keep getting to them.
Agreed. I mean, look, I don't have any worries about Christopher Sanchez. I mean, he's going to finish runner-up in the Cy Young this year in the National League, behind Paul Skeens. But then you look at Jesus Luzardo, man, probably the most underrated pickup again of any team last winter. But then you look
Take away those 2 starts where Topper left them in, just probably shouldn't have left them in to give up 8 and 11 runs or 9 and 11 runs. He probably should have came out much sooner than that. And his ERA is really inflated from that. That's 20. He gave up 20 runs in less than 5 innings. That's
a lot.
I mean,
that's a lot of runs.
That really just if you and you really I said about 240. You can't really remove starts, but if you were to remove those 2 specific starts because they were so bad, he had a really good year.
He over 200 strikeouts. Just a really, really good year.
And it's a good guy to have, especially if Wheeler was healthy.
Yep.
He's good 2 or 3. He's a really good 2 or 3 to have.
For sure.
And it's gonna be great that we have him again one more year next year. So which is great.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lock him up at a cheaper rate in the offseason. Like what they did with Sanchez, they might do the same thing with Luzardo.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy with that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they moved him either.
That's also good. We'll talk about that in the offseason. But when I look at Ohtani, Snell, and Yamamoto, who's pitching as well as any starter in baseball right now, I'm going to give the advantage to the Dodgers. But the big thing, which could be the turning point of this series, I'm giving the advantage of the bullpen to the Phillies. And I think that's going to be huge because
they have a pretty good bullpen.
Because except for the last start, Snell normally does not go beyond 6 innings in any start. Ohtani, unless he is absolutely dealing, won't go beyond 5. So this is a Phillies team that I would love for them to crush either Ohtani or Snell right off the bat and get to that bullpen quick.
That's the key to the series.
That's the key to the series. Yes.
You have to. The bats have to carry this series, and the pitching. If they could lose the series even if the pitching is phenomenal. The Phillies pitching is phenomenal because they have to keep. They have bats. It's going to come down to bats in the series. It really is going to come down to the bats in the series.
I mean, I look at it this way:
bats and get into the bullpen. That's really the bats have to come alive.
I put it this way: which team will feel more confident in the ninth inning?
We will.
The
Phillies will.
Phillies. Exactly. So
They'll
that's
probably
why
go.
I.
I think I'm more confident sixth, seventh,
Me too.
seventh, eighth inning that with
Totally.
our guys that their
Matt
guys have
Strom, Tanner Banks have
been
been
for a
pitching
team
really
that I thought
well.
had a really good bullpen at the start of the season. They have not lived up to expectations at all,
I agree.
and a
I
lot of it's
agree.
injury. A lot of it's injuries.
I I am worried though about David Robertson and Kirkering. Robertson, I'm worried about because he has been quite bumpy the last month, whereas Kirkering, I think, has just been. I think he's shot. He's just overworked for the first
Yeah,
half of the season. Um,
he's that's always been the thing I've always said about and and that's a guess a blame for Dombrowski's is not getting them a good enough bullpen early on, so where you don't have to overuse these guys.
mhm.
Um, but that's always been the bullpen since Topper's been here. He's overused his guys all the time, and they're kind of dead at the end of the year. I mean,
Yeah. Dean's got a good point. I mean, this is what John and I talked about.
yes,
This
yeah.
is why we're saying they have to hit these pitchers out of the
And
game.
this is what that's always it's great that Dean brought that. It's always why I said like it's great that you get a Duran. It's great that the Padres got Mason Miller because that really helped he really helped them win that series.
That's
That's
right. That
great. Like
104 mile per hour pitch really helped them win
that
the
really
series.
that's why I always said like I would give up more and I wouldn't give up the farm for relief pitchers. I would give them up for hitters. That's why my point. It always you're right. He's come up. That's all. It's going to come down to hitting. Are these bats
Yep.
going to show up? It really
Yep.
hitting is the most important thing. I obviously it's the most important thing, and then the biggest counter is pitching. So like yeah, if you want to counter a good lineup, you have to have good pitching, but the hitting
Mm-hmm.
comes first.
All right. So let's get down to it. Let's wrap this up and let's get down to the biggest part of this, and that's the predictions of this series. John, do you want to go first or me?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
So Phillies will win in five.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and they'll win in five. They will. They'll win tomorrow. They'll lose when Nola pitches on Monday when I go.
I can't wait to get angry messages from John, and I'm going to be like, dude, on Friday, you did say that they were going to lose, and you're going. That's
I think
funny.
it's good. I think it's five, man.
Yeah.
There's no way this I just and you want it to go five. If you're a baseball fan, this is a series that's going to be a
Hmm.
battle.
Yeah, so I look at it. My prediction is I think both teams have major position players, trying to be healthy and show that they're healthy. The Will Smiths, Trey Turner. Both teams have just outstanding starting pitching, with obviously the Dodgers having that edge there because there's no Wheeler. And we just don't know the health right now
They might have
completely
the
of
edge if
Ranger.
they might have the edge if Wheeler's here.
Of Yeah, I agree. They have, both teams have elite, obviously designated hitters and left-handed hitters. And as we said, these are two teams with the identical win totals over the last two seasons. If we had a 30 game series, we'd probably assume, a 16-14 outcome, something like that. But, that's how close these teams are. I'm gonna give it to Philadelphia
And they've
because
had the Dodgers numbers. They really
not
have,
just that, I look at it also the Phillies
and they have
because
home
of their
field.
their their advantage of being at home. They are elite inside Citizens Bank Park, not City Field, weird voodoo elite, but I mean it is really difficult to go into Citizens Bank Park and beat the Phillies in 2025.
Well, and
And
the Mets are cheating, man. I don't know
yeah,
how you can be like 15 games under 500 and
yeah,
be that good at home. There's something. I mean, I'm not saying they're cheating, but there's something freaking going on there.
for sure. I look at how good the Phillies, how great the Phillies are at home. They have the best closer, probably maybe in baseball. And the questions of how the Dodgers are going to handle all the left-handed starters, and then the third base and left field issue. Yeah, I think Phillies in
I think
five.
in this series is if and hopefully Topper views it this way. Maybe not pitch Nola until possibly game four because I
That's what I
maybe
was thinking.
it might be an advantage having the lefties against this team. Their two best hitters are
Yeah.
left-handed. You possibly keep Muncy out of the lineup. Um, keep Conforto out of the lineup, but who cares? I mean,
I
you
mean, what I
keep
would like for them to do is if they start Nola any game, 2, 4, and he can maybe you get 3 or 4 out of him, and he's looking good. Do you pull him, and then you have Walker that can come in and pitch 3?
which Walker? I mean, you got to be specific
Walker
here.
Bueller, I'm sorry. Definitely not the
Maybe,
other one.
maybe, maybe
I mean,
you
I
have
think that's
to.
something that you
And
can definitely
I do
look
think
at.
you have to break up the lefties. I do think you probably have to do it, but
Yeah,
it might be an advantage being having more lefties in this rotation, like, especially with Otani and Freeman.
I agree. I agree.
And you keep Muncy's bat out of the lineup, possibly.
Yes, which would be great. Um, but all right, yeah. So that's our prediction. Both John and I are at Phillies in 5, heading their way to the National League Championship Series. Who do you have going? What's your prediction for Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs
Chicago, I think.
in what 5?
Yeah, I think that game goes series goes 5-2. I don't know. Milwaukee's that weird team that's in the playoffs all the time that I just don't think scary.
Same, man.
It's just I don't fear them, and they've never really done anything yet.
Yeah.
Until they do it, it's gonna be it's coming. Because guess what? I mean, they got another 19-year-old coming up soon who can hit the
Yep.
baseball. I
Yep.
mean, Mizorowski's only going to get better.
Yep.
You have Woodruff there still. You have Peralta there still. They have they have a good pitching staff, and Quinn Priester. They're like another, like, they got something going on there where they can do with pitchers, man. They just
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it's coming becoming a factory over there, and they got a lot of controllable for a team that doesn't spend money. They have a lot of controllable guys, and they got some more young talent coming up on the way. And so they're a team but they don't scare me.
Yep.
The Cubs haven't done anything recently, but guys, they have, man, they have some scary, scary dudes in that lineup, and they don't have the pitching, but they have some
Yep.
scary dudes in that lineup.
No doubt. And I agree with Dean here. We said this earlier. We really need to hope Mookie goes back to sleep because he did. I mean, he was mashing against the
Because what
Reds.
was it? Was it last year or 2 years ago where he had a really bad postseason?
It might have been 2 years ago.
Um, who
Let me
else?
see.
I think Chicago. I forgot. I think this is Chicago, but Chicago was. It might have been Chicago, and the Brewers were the only teams to not have. It might not have been the Brewers, but it was definitely Chicago. The only team to not have a sub 500 month all year. It's like one of
Mm-hmm.
two teams, and Chicago was one of them. So even though they kind of blew their division, but it more of was Milwaukee was scorching hot for a long time. That's why they kind of blew it, but they were pretty good. They were pretty good and pretty consistent all year long. So they're
2023 against the Diamondbacks. Mookie went 4-8, 0 for 11. No walks,
I think that
2
was the year that
strikeouts.
that Freddie might have had like 2 hits that series.
Might have been, yeah. Yeah. But all right, everyone. Thank you so very much. As we just predicted, Phillies in 5. We think the Phillies will be once again returning to the National League Championship Series. And we both think it's against the Cubbies. So that again, awesome for baseball. Again, you got 2 massive markets in the NLCS. It's gonna be awesome. I would love to see.
Cubs are like Freddie Freeman. How can you root against that, man?
Yeah, well, I will if they play the Phillies. Well, but it will be cool to see. I hope to see some Phillies games, playoff games at Wrigley. That's just awesome.
That'd
So
be cool. That'd be
Schwarber,
cool.
it will.
And and it would be sucked to hear that song because it's such a good song when they win.
Like, you're right. All right, everybody. So if you're watching on YouTube, like a lot of you are, thank you so very much. Really do appreciate that. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, ring the bell for notifications when we're going to go live. The plan is to be live after each Phillies game. Obviously, John might not be here Monday night, but I sure as heck should be. So yeah, we should be back here tomorrow night, post game, win or lose, to talk about it. Looking forward to that no matter what. If they win, I'll be on a high. If they lose, I'll be miserable, and that's good for everyone. So thank you very much, John. I really do appreciate it, man. This has been Ring the Bell, your Philly show, and we'll catch you guys down the road. Have a great rest of your evening, and as always, everybody, go Phils.